another episode of Two Scrippers, One Pole. It's been a crazy week. It really has. Y'all, I took really good notes and like outlines. I don't want to show y'all too close because I can't have y'all in my business. But you see my setup is, y'all, I'm so excited. Okay. Thoughts, train of thoughts. So I got my notes. Let's see how well I can actually stick to them. What do I want to talk about first? Because I'm clearly super, super excited. First, okay, let's start there. Unfinished thoughts. So last week's episode featuring DeMarcus, it was a little, like, I was so pumped and excited that I started just losing train of thought completely. So it was like 3 things I never finished, but I was like, I just gotta put something out. So the first thing, the story about the cyst in my butt. What was crazy about it? So what was crazy about that? Me and my mom had been watching the movie. Like, we were sharing. It was so cute. We were sharing like the medical bed, and my stepfather was in the chair. My mom just wanted to be next to me, but we were like in this awkward position, so the IV machine kept beeping. But anyway, so the first night, I think they packed it. I never got to actually see my butt, so I don't know what it looked like. I really wish that I had taken pictures, because when I cut my thumb off, I still have pictures of that. But the hole in my butt. So they had to pack it with, I guess, gauze. And the next day, the doctor came and like pulled it out to see if it was infected and like to just whatever check it. He wasn't doing that to my butt, but I just feel like if I had to do it to my butt, I probably that's like how I would want to massage it. Yeah. So he took the gauze out of it and then didn't repack it, and nobody came to see me until later that evening. It was 2 black nurses. Shout out to them. And she was like, yeah, I'm not even gonna hold you. We're gonna have to put like a band-aid over your butt, because since it's been so long since it was taken out, like it basically started the healing process, and if we try to pack it, you'll probably try to beat the shit out of us. And I said, y'all are real ones, because I feel like other doctors still would have tried to do that. So my mom during the healing process, my mom used to have to help me put like this huge oversized band-aid on my butt crack, like right down the middle of my butt crack. And I don't remember how long that was, and I had to take like antibiotics. That was a time. And so then when I went back to work and I was limping because I had this big ass band-aid on my ass crack, I was telling people I was in the hospital because I had a cyst in my leg. So this happened right before New Year's, because then going to Meeks. But yeah, that was a time. I've had a band-aid on my butt. I've cut off my thumb. There was the time that I was in a boot. What else? There was a time I fractured my eye socket. Like, it's honestly a wonder. It is a wonder. But the shit be happening to me. I don't be going seeking this shit. So that was one unfinished thought. And I'm going to get a sound effect, y'all. Before I started recording, I started taking notes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have these different sections, and each one's going to have a sound effect. So I'm going to introduce that to y'all in another episode once I actually have the shit together so I can present it and show you, you know. Then I was talking about the whole, when I go out mask presenting and I be trolling niggas, because I just be like, yeah, I be fucking bitches and I'll fuck your bitch. Like, I love saying I'll steal your bitch, because I can. Then, it was just a tidbit. What really upset me about Dreamville 2 was that, the rise stage, like I said, the sound was messed up the entire time, so you couldn't hear anything. And then Nicki Minaj, so Nicki Minaj's set was supposed to start at, I don't feel like, I'm gonna look it up. Ooh, I got real close and sexy. Alright, y'all, how y'all feeling tonight? Welcome to the Wise Underground Club. all the way back from Memphis, Tennessee. Show them some Southern love. JT and the Tennessee Kids, come on. Ah. Thank you for having us out tonight. We're JT and the Tennessee Kids. I actually love me some JT. I really love Justin Timberlake, except for when he tries to beat his feet. That video will never not be funny to me. I can perfectly... DC, beat your feet! He was like Irish line dancing or some shit. That will never not geek me. What was I doing? I was trying to go to the Two Scrippers One Pole Instagram, I think. What was I talking about? Oh, damn it. Oh, that's what I was trying to find. I was trying to find Dreamville. See, this is why we write things down. I'm going to talk about that. What time was she? It's really like irrelevant information, but I'm just really determined to finish my sentence for once. You know what I'm saying? Damn, did y'all delete it? Nah, but they be posting like 15 posts a day. Hey, what the fuck? Okay. So Nikki's set was supposed to start at 8 o'clock and go until 8:45. Her show, I don't even think started till 9:30. And it was funny because, like, you know, they had set the lights up. They set the stage up for her to come out. And then a QR code popped up. And it was like, enter Gag City. And the QR code took you to her merch website where you could order online. And she was just saying that she was making Dreamville a part of her tour. So, you know, we were waiting. I was like, I'm not a huge Barb. Well, I'm not a Barb. I appreciate old Nikki. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, okay, for those of you who are listening, and for those of you that are watching and then just saw my face, the squirrels that live in my vicinity, they crawl up and down. Like, they're very scary. And now I'm even more scared. So they just be crawling. I didn't even know that they could do what they do. Anywho, maybe one day I'll catch them and I'll record it. I don't know. But internet safety, you know, it depends on if I can get an angle so y'all can't tell where I live. I went through my Instagram today because I finally decided to switch. I'm going to get back to the Nicki Minaj thing and the squirrel thing. But I don't use my lock page anymore, so I decided to shift it and like use that. Cause y'all, I told y'all I can't make no more Instagrams. Instagram told me no, which I didn't think about doing it this other way, but I wasn't really thinking at the time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Essentially, I'm transitioning one of my pages to my other one, so I had to like go through and I'm like, okay, what pictures? I don't care about my face showing, but like I've been talking about how I want to make it harder for a sub to make those connections between who I am. And so one thing, this is for iPhone users. I don't speak Android. But go to your settings, your privacy settings, and make sure that like your camera, Twitter, Instagram, all of that has no location ever. Like you have to manually set that inside. But then also your photos, turn those off. So the geotag. And then what was the other thing I was going to say? Your photos, any apps you use like specifically for that you can't not use with locations. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Send corrections to twoscrippersonepole@gmail.com. See, this is what happens when I be going off on tangents, and it's like I have what I want to talk about right here, and then something is not irrelevant. It's relevant because I brought it up. Your apps, Instagram, Twitter. So let me just speak in terms that I know. Instagram and Twitter, I have it set to never. And then I also have my photos set to never. And then there was another, Wi-Fi. When you are out in public, turn your Wi-Fi off and not just like press the button. Like, no, go to settings and turn it off so that your phone doesn't automatically connect. Just keep yourself safe because people be out here cray. Back to the squirrels. So it be the squirrel. I don't know if it's the same squirrel, but he be crawling like shit up and down my, like, I don't even cinder block. I don't fucking know. And this morning when I was sitting out there, I saw two of them. And they were really on a mission. And honestly, I was scared that they were going to come towards me because one of them looked at me like I was meat. And I was just like, ooh. So I had a dream about a rat last night. Y'all, the dream that I had, so it's a little choppy now, but we were in here and it was a little bit more empty in my house. And it was like me, my mom, and I forget who else was with me. And I had a pet mouse or baby rat, I don't know, but I had like a pet rodent, and I just loved it so much because it was so sweet and nice. And I'm like, but that's not really how I be feeling. Oh, and Mickey is back, y'all. I need to get the fuck up out of here because and I cannot find the hole. I can't. And it's like he's not eating my shit because I don't leave shit out. He don't be here often. But it'd be like, bro, I can't do this. If you're like Mickey, go back and listen to episode, I want to say that's 9. I think it's 9. It might not be 9. It might be 8. I think it's 8. Farting Water with Katie and Molly. And I talked about my little mouse. I think I told the whole story about that. But yeah. So, I don't know. I'm not going to lie. Mickey be a little cute. Like, he pop out, be like, you got some food for me? And I be like, bitch, get the fuck out. And then he goes. So, we don't have problems no more. Because, you know, at one point he was nibbling chocolate and I thought that was a friend. So, I be scared to leave certain things out. Like, but I've cleared a path. He doesn't get on my counters. Because at one... Oh, no, that was a false alarm, y'all. I moved my hand too fast. Jesus Christ. I was like, that's a bold motherfucker. But at one point, I had one of my shelving units. This is when he first, like, and I never used to have these problems, so I don't know where he's coming from. But I saw this motherfucker using an extension cord, because I have this, like, this cart that holds my microwave and my air fryer, and then it has like my teas and my crock pot and some paper plates and some pitchers and some napkins and Ziploc bags and chip clips and other stuff. Anyway, so I have that, and I used to have like this mini extension cord that would connect it to the cord that's on my counter. Why the fuck I'm in this bitch and I'm doing homework for my tax class, and I hear something behind me. I look back, and this nigga was treating my house like a motherfucking circus, and he was a trapeze artist. I was like, oh, no. Burn the entire... Oh, I just spilled my tea. Burn the entire building down. Because what is this? And immediately, like, so ever since then, I was like, yeah, you got me fucked up, bruh. And I just... So, I be, like, real particular about my counters, but I know that he doesn't have access because I've, like, purposely left food out on the counter to see if there's like a chance of him coming out to get it. So he don't got nothing here, and I don't leave nothing on my microwave or nothing. So it's like you literally have nothing here. So I think he used my apartment as a hallway, but he really be scaring the shit out of me. So it's cause it just like, and he'll come out and be like, and literally just like look at me, and then I be looking at him, and then I'll like buck at him, and then I'll get the fuck. So the squirrels. I don't know how I started talking about Mickey from Squirrels. But they're walking down, and it was a really fat one. Like, fat as shit. And then, just now, the reason why I made the face, the whole reason why I just told that story, is because I just saw one of the squirrels with another squirrel in his mouth, as if it was the meal. So, that is another reason why I need to get the fuck up out of here. Like, y'all, the shit that has been going on in my neighborhood with nature and with people is insanity, and I cannot, I will not. So that was that. I was talking about Nicki Minaj. See, I'm getting there, y'all. I'm doing so much better. So she had put up, like, it was a part of her tour, and we're sitting there waiting. So it's like 8:30, and at that point, me and Ari was like, yeah, we're gonna start heading over to the other session, because, like, I wanted to see, like, it's the nostalgia piece. Like, I wanted to see, like, she did Moment for Life, but basically, I think what she did was tell them she's not going on until they fix the sound system. So by the time she went, you could hear it from the other side of the park, which is just like, bro, what the fuck? I was so mad. But I was really excited when she did play Moment for Life, because that just felt like it was just one of those like, I wish that I could have this moment for life. It's like it brings you back into that like being present moment, and you know it was really nice. So I was glad that she did it, and she actually ended her set with that. I can't remember what else she did, but there were like songs that I actually wanted to hear her sing. So I'm like, you know, I'll give her a first 30 minutes, but I'm really here for Cole, so let me get on that side of the stage. So when it comes, it's like it's pushing, I think 9 now at this point. 9:15, she still hasn't gone. So I was like, oh, that's crazy. What if the gag is she's not coming on stage? And I started dying like, but then when she finally did come on stage, motherfuckers were running. It's dark outside. What are you doing? You can hear the music from here, and it's not like you're gonna get right up on it. Like, please relax. But again, in instances like that, that's why I feel like they should have televisions on that side of Shine, on the Shine side, so that you could see the Rise sign and prohibit people from running like they don't got no damn sense. It's dark out. You can't see the fucking ground. What if you trip and fall and bust your ass, or you fuck somebody else up? Like, y'all need to have festival etiquette. Understand that there's literally thousands of people. This is like what happened the last year. Go listen to, I think that was it Summer Sausage Dick that I talked about that? I think so. But yeah. So, breathing. I talked a little bit about that today too. I just had to see if I was rapping. Then the last thought that I did not finish is that it was an announcement that I am going, well, maybe y'all picked up on this, and if you follow me on Instagram at 2scrippers, I didn't say gram, I said gray, I don't know, I didn't have to point that out, but like sometimes when I hear myself, I have to say it out loud and be like, did you really just said that? You said that, yeah. And then you own it, you know, taking accountability. Videos to Saturdays. So I am releasing audio on Thursdays, and then videos will be posted Saturdays. Trying to hone down my schedule, y'all, because the thing is, I still have to work because I still need my bills paid, right? But I'm moving in this direction of like, it's okay. I'm working for myself. I don't got to worry about other people's schedules. But with that being said, I'm trying to like solidify this between trying to make a schedule for this, make a schedule for school, and with school includes internship and homework. But going into my second year, I will not be having an internship. So I'm just like, okay, I just got to do school and homework and look for opportunities to still kind of keep me immersed in like practice and being able to do that. So school, homework, schedule, we're getting ready to shift into the summer. I don't know if I'm taking summer classes yet. Then podcasting, just really honing that down, because it's like you got to make the content, then you got to edit the content, then you got to post the content. And yes, you could schedule it, but it's like, okay, you doing all this other stuff. And then it's the same thing with like Femdom, which I'm super excited about because it's been really good in terms of just like content selling. I had a repeat buyer, and then he ended up buying like a more expensive video, and then also giving me feedback, like some things he'd like to see me push out. So I'm like, that's so exciting. And I've just been getting, just like, that's the thing. It's like, you still want to put something out, and what little step can you take, to achieve whatever the greater purpose is, because now this is passive income. I posted a video on mine. It was like a video that I made, I think I might have said this last week, y'all, I don't fucking know, but a video that I made during Halloween purchase. He purchased that, and then it was people love theme shit like Christmas. Get on it. If you have Christmas stuff, make Christmas content now and schedule it for December. So now you don't have to worry about December. I say that as I haven't done that yet, but it's on the list. This is honestly, this podcast is my version of holding myself accountable. Because I be saying all the good stuff, and I'm like, I can't say crazy things to people. I can't be out here telling people to do crazy things. But it'd be like, okay, now you do it. And I'd be like, yeah, you right. But that is a beautiful thing. It keeps me honest, and it keeps me just like, it it also is fun to sometimes every once in a while I'll go back and look at something and I'm like, I'll be self-conscious about the likes or the and I've talked about this. But to see when I first started something or if I said something, I always tend to end up watching an episode unknowingly about something I may be struggling with in that moment or doubting in that moment, and then I'll watch a random episode and it'll say something about whatever I'm struggling with now, and I'll be like, bitch, you fucking did it, or bitch, remember this. And yeah, so this is really for me. And okay, I have so many things I want to talk about. I'm so excited. I'm in a good mood. Accountability, I'll make that note because it comes up when I'm talking about something later. All of this is really so I was talking about scheduling Femdom content, and yeah, it's just like a bunch of shit that I don't want to call it shit. It's not shit. It's my shit. It's my shit. It's a bunch of shit that I gotta do. And just really trying to do the schedule and adhere to it, you know? And I'm finally in this place of like, bitch, your hard work is paying off. And I'm like, yes! Okay. That brings me into, this is what I want to talk about. We're at 20 minutes and then, yeah. So I finally sort of finished my card series that I brought up back in like, I think the first time I mentioned it was Niggas is Depressing. And then I mentioned it again in Two Did Bitches at the Hibachi Spot. And then I didn't bring it up. So I already showed you guys my first set. And I talked extensively about it in Niggas is Depressing. So bipolar 1, major depressive disorder or just depression, generalized anxiety disorder, anxiety, and then obsessive compulsive disorder. So the next set, I think I did mention that, was schizophrenia and then PTSD and dissociative identity disorder. So in Two Did Bitches at the Hibachi Spot, I hadn't started these two cards yet, and then, you know, I talked about how it was just, I was dealing with a lot and the PTSD symptoms was coming up. So I thought it was interesting that when I had started working on these cards and I was going through all of that, I think it was also just really hard for me to connect with these, and then like try not to fall behind in school. So I was like, well, here are the cards, I created them, I'll get to them later. So that I could still try to put it in. It was, the assignment was still late, but it was like as close to on time as possible. And so it's also been hard for me to revisit these because I was still doing them with watercolor, and I think I still do want to do them with watercolor. And I'm still just not there yet to, like, I haven't felt drawn back to watercolor. I would say recently I've been playing with a lot of chalk pastels, but I'll get into that. So looking at these, I'm like, I do kind of like the unfinishedness of the PTSD card. But I also kind of like the idea of leaving some of it unfinished, because I do think too, like, sometimes with PTSD, because if it's that traumatic, we have amnesia about certain parts. So it's like, and that's kind of like my representation of, like, by not adding it in color, like, that's not a memory that we have. And that's what I was thinking with that. Part of the process. You see? Look at that. That was, oh my God. I'll get back to him. I just finished, well, we're finishing the year, and I did my process presentation, and that's part of the things that I wanted to talk about. Like, there's a lot of things I'm like, oh, I can label this, right? Anywho, I'm gonna give you guys a little, I'm not a therapist yet, so I can't say therapy, but like what I've learned in my journey to be a therapist. Yeah, so dissociative identity, I don't really know how I want to do that yet. Then the next group was gender dysphoria, and this is where I started using chalk pastels. Gender dysphoria, and then I did substance abuse disorders, and then I did eating disorders. And what was interesting about this group, when I was thinking, about gender dysphoria, like almost having this like, well, not almost, my interpretation of it is, or understanding of it is, like having this nearly out of body experience, in the sense of like your just like your mind and body are not in connection, and like how that can be, that is, I mean, dysphoria, dysphoric. So like that disconnection between mind and body, um and just presence in body, really. And then I had like, it was interesting to do, I had did this almost like, I was trying to do a genderless figure, a non-suggestive gender, I don't know, but you get the point. It was just, is that a voicemail? And I thought that it looks like a homicide drawing. And then I was like, the process of dead naming when people do transgender or do transition. And I thought that was interesting, that was just like something, when I went back and reflected, I was like, oh, and that wasn't intentional. It's just, I was like, huh. And I don't really know if that must have been something subconscious, but anywho. Then with my substance disorder, it was like my little drawings of brains, and I was thinking of like inside of the brain, the top one, there's 3 brains. So the brains, how they go is like, it's a bunch of colors sparking from the brain, and then as you go down, there's none. And then there's also like at the top of the card, there's all these bright colors, and at the bottom of the card it's just red. And so I was thinking about like when you are on drugs, how you're having this euphoric experience most of the time, of just like what's going on in your head, or what's going on around you, and then as you start to come down and those withdrawal symptoms exhibit themselves, you start to get like more angry, or having to deal with your sadness, or having to like physically feel pain, and like maybe you're using drugs to block out memories, all of that. Then with this card, it was one of those things of like, I did it, and then subconsciously it was like, oh wow. So I had did this like for those of you listening, I am like squeezing the air because I was trying to mimic what I couldn't come up with a word, so I was doing hand gestures, and then it, in my head, maybe the people watching it didn't get it, but like I was like, oh, I'm squeezing a penis, but that's just where my anyway. I was trying to, it's like a bulging and unbulging. I don't think unbulging is a word, but I can't think of the word right now. So I'm trying to do the motion as if the people listening can hear me. But essentially, it's getting bigger and smaller. That's what I'm trying to say. And I was thinking about just like how weight can be involved, whether that's losing a lot of weight, gaining a lot of weight. But then I also ended up seeing in the end that it looked like it's reminiscent of like a digestive tract. And I was like, wow. So then the last set of cards are conduct disorder, neurocognitive disorder, neurodevelopment disorder, and then we had personality disorders. And so with the conduct disorder, what I noticed is like in each section, the connections between them and how I interacted with the cards are just really interesting. So by the time I got to these last 4 cards, because originally too, with the first set, I liked the style that I did them in, and I was thinking about continuing just like depicting a person who has this this diagnosis, and like them kind of experiencing it. So in the first set, everybody was in them, but I also think that like the further away we got from that first set of disorders, I really started to realize just like how these can present differently person to person, and like not everybody's experiences are the same. And thinking about like how, you know, and that's something that we talk about too, is just being careful with diagnosing people, and not making it's a person first language, instead of saying like he's a schizophrenic, he has been diagnosed with schizophrenia, he has schizophrenia, but it is a person first, not like, oh, he's schizophrenic. um Y'all, I'm waiting on a package because your girl finally kind of got a new phone. Um, Coming from the puke incident, I did the spring cleaning and I found one of my old phones. And I was like, you know what? I could just use this instead of getting a new phone. And so what I then in that, I was like, okay, like I did want a new phone to record, but this phone is fine. I'm transitioning my other phone into my Femdom phone, so that it's easier to like separate the two of those. And just have all the accounts on one. And it also kind of helps me like when I interact with that phone, it's like I'm in work mode now. Yeah, and I found other laptops, so I was like, this is part of the setup. So I have a laptop that I was like, it was back in the day when I used to play Sims, which I fucking love the Sims. I love the Sims. So I took that to work, and I'm like, that's gonna be my work laptop, so that I'm not distracted and I don't have any of my other things on there, homework, none of that. So I'm at work, I can focus on this. And then now I have the separations of phones, and I'm still in a place where I'm bringing my laptop around with me because we're pushing finals and life is just ugh. So I've been trying to, like, my plan is to keep my laptop stationary at home and use it for like recording and stuff, but transition my iPad into my laptop. And I got this fucking cool ass tablet stand, and y'all got a Bluetooth keyboard, so I'm gonna be in here typing it up. Oh, it's actually working. I was like, what is happening? I forgot that I turned it on. Do I turn you on when I type like a sexy secretary? Oh yeah, well head on over to Balesa and use code BB30. Y'all, what the fuck? BB Mango 30 for 30% off your next nut. That wasn't as sexy as I wanted it to be, so I had this really cute idea for an ad. And with that being said, here go the Patreon ads. This month on Behind the Scenes Pole Play, available in all Patreon tiers. Let's see where that gets me. So I'm sitting in front of the pole, trace, how it feels appropriate. Fan kick over, push, back it up, trace, hair flip, come back down, do a little leg kick, push stuff back up, grab pole, copper it up, trace the whole body, trace it in, and then you can walk, fan kick it back down. Make it do a little pussy pop, or not pussy pop, but booty pop. Then this month on Toy Talk, available in Main Stage and Champagne Room, Mango discusses anal play. I think some people, like some dudes, are really like, okay, I'm cool with the gooch, but any lower is too much. But that gooch action be going crazy. So just imagine if you let me get in that booty hole. Stop fucking playing with it. As what Fat Trail say? SB slutty boy shit, bitch. Oh, did I drop T again? I hope not. Oh, put some lube. Oh, that's the other thing. So with butt stuff, make sure that you have lube, because unlike the vagina or the mouth, the butthole is not self-lubricating. So, and because there's so many nerves there, it gets real sensitive and you could tear your booty hole. And that's not fun. Like when that dick hit my butt, I couldn't shit for a week, y'all. I couldn't, like, literally his dick was so big and it was just like, poof, it punched me in the booty hole, and I tried to shit and I could not shit for a week. Do you know what it's like to not be able to shit for a week? That's insanity. Available only in the Champagne Room. This month on Tales of a Sensual Femdom, Mango discusses phone sex operation sites Sex Panther and Night Flirt. Let me go back. Greetings, Mistress Mango. I'm a fat white boy with a food and feeding fetish I'm losing control over. Is this something you might like to explore or even exploit? I said, ooh, fat white boys are fun. How fat are you? He said, hee hee, thanks, mistress. I'm over 260 pounds now, barely 5'8". I always had desires to get fat and ballooned since COVID. So I said, you're such a big boy. I just got finished eating a sandwich myself. What have you eaten so far today? Welcome back. I probably should have did that. So back to the cards. So what I found with this set is that as I move further away from, that's where I was, these present differently in everyone. And so it stopped becoming about a person and just like maybe what it's like to experience that, or how can you do all these different, because they look so different, what are ways that you can convey the same message? So it moved from a very more realism, and I use that term loosely because I do not consider myself a realism or realistic or whatever kind of artist. I'm definitely way more abstract because actual portraiture, no, I don't draw people. So it came from a more air quote realistic artistic style to a more abstracted. So let me just get into the cards. So like conduct disorder, we're thinking oppositional defiant disorder, pyromania, kleptomania, conduct disorder, and I forget what the other one was, but I found in this set that it became more about the process as opposed to like, how did I get here? So what I mean by that, I started with this card, and originally I had just had like this is the conduct card for those of you listening. Originally I had just like, I saw these pieces of these scissors that have the creative, the fancy cuts, and I had cut strips of paper because I'm thinking of like the action of being disruptive, right? Like if you have a kid that has this and it's not an art class and they just start cutting paper, you're going to say that they're disruptive or whatever else. So thinking of that, and then I had like kind of started crisscrossing the paper, arranging the paper onto the card, and I was kind of thinking, I think subconsciously I was kind of thinking of like crime scenes a little bit, maybe. That's what it at least is reminiscent of for me in some ways. And then I started coloring in between, and I was doing like oranges and reds and like light greens, just like that pop of energy. And then I showed it to somebody, and I was like, yeah, this is like, is this reminiscent of conduct disorders? And she was like, no, I would actually say it feels more like dissociative identity. And I was like, okay. So I went back to the drawing board. So then something in me, I started coloring more erratically on the page, and then I started picking at the I think I was trying to lift up one of the pieces of paper and maybe reposition it because I had just finished gluing it. And then I said, and when I did it, it ripped. And I was like, wait a minute, this is cool. So then I started ripping it and thinking of that like destruction. And then I still didn't know how to represent. I was like, ooh, how could I incorporate like pyromania? And I got the idea to burn the card as like part of that. And then when I presented it in class, the cut, like the burn was really clean, and it didn't feel like that really showed the burning effect that I wanted it to. So I had got the idea. I was like, ooh, I should have burnt a hole in the middle. And one of my cohort members was like, I got a lighter. We could do it right now. In a very supportive way. I love my cohort so much. So then I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it when I get home. So then I did that. I was like, I like that. That sits better with me because this burn here honestly feels more like a chunk was taken out. And I think about kleptomania and that. So I'm like, how things work out. Then these two cards. So this one is neurocognitive. This is the one with like the gold leaf and like the red underneath the gold leaf. The other one is red with gold leaf, but it has an infinity sign. I'm not talking about the infinity sign one. And I'm saying that to my listeners. Anyway, so the neurocognitive one and then the neurodevelopment one, I was thinking of two people in my life in particular. One who has autism and then one who has dementia. And I was in my head, because y'all, I've been working and I've been tired. I was in class. I felt so fucking bad for my professor because I was in class and I was fighting for my life. I was in the back of the class knocked out like, and then I kept waking up and answering questions and going back to sleep. Like, but it was really bad. So I remember waking up when she was talking about autism. And then I remember when she was talking about dementia. So in my head, I thought they were on the same, same classification. So I'm like, oh yeah. So I started thinking about how I want to do this card. And I'm thinking, I know a lot of people with autism. And I only know this one person with dementia. To my knowledge, and so, or personally. And so I was like thinking of how some of those things, depending, and it goes down to like, because these also became, this last set of cards, they became more generalized because like, let me see, just because I want to make sure that I'm telling you all guys correct. I'm trying to log in so that I can tell you like the groupings of the cards. Oh wait, my professor does that. Drop box. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. If only my knees were still as strong as they used to be. Grad school. I have so many folders. What class is this? Psychopathology. Okay, so conduct disorders, you're thinking of, where is it? Oppositional defiant disorder, intermittent explosive disorder, conduct disorder, pyromania, kleptomania. And then is this neurocognitive disorders. You have, these are things that are going to, these are typically developed like later in life, whereas developmental disorders are like developmental. So they usually start in like childhood. So your cognition is your attention, your memory, intelligence, executive function, judgment, language, motor, learning, perception, and awareness. So you have like dementia, you have delirium, you have like Alzheimer's disease, frontal temporal with Lewy bodies, or with vascular. This is traumatic brain injuries. This could be, you can have something due to HIV infection, prion disease, Parkinson's, Huntington's, multiple etiologies. I believe that just means you have multiple conditions. But yeah, so then when you think of neurodevelopment, this is where you have like autism, you have ADHD, you have different intellectual disabilities, communication disorders, specific learning disorders, or motor disorders. So in some cases, some of those overlap. And so in my head, and also just like being knocked out in class, I was like, oh, these make sense. So then as I went to go look up the presentation and also look at like the actual DSM, I was like, wait a minute, these aren't in the same category. But I had already started my process, so I don't really remember. I think I started on this card and like I had painted it white, and then I started painting it like the person that I know who has autism, it was like one time when they were painting, they were like almost stabbing the page. So I started painting in that same way as them. And then I put the card aside to dry, and I went back and I started wiping up some of the paint, because I was thinking of how you have memory loss and like wiping away some of those memories. But then that's when I sat down and I was like, okay, well, what else can I do? What colors can I incorporate? I was like, oh, they're not the same thing. So I had to sit there and figure out like which way am I gonna go. And I've been watching some reel, and they were talking about how like the symbol or like awareness for autism has moved to like red with a gold infinity sign, or like red and gold or a gold infinity sign. Don't quote me on that. Send corrections to twoscrippers1poll@gmail.com. Send questions, stories, topics, and corrections to twoscrippers1poll@gmail.com. That's 2skrippas1pole@gmail.com. So yeah, this card, neurocognitive. Then I started thinking about, okay, I know this person with dementia, and then I know someone who has had a traumatic brain injury, and I'm thinking about like the person that I know with dementia, it's hard for them to, like, they don't really have the short term but the long term memory. And it's like, I was having a conversation with someone about a win that I had recently, and they had been asking me like, hey, like, how's this going, I'm like, it's been going, and like 5 minutes later, hey, how is this going? And so I remember the first time that I had experienced that, and it caught me off guard, and I'm like, you just asked me the same question 7 times, and like trying to reword something that many times to still be engaged, this, like, I don't know, it's difficult, and that could, and it's kind of painful. It's kind of painful too. So yeah, like, I remember I hadn't seen the person in a while, first met them or saw them, and they were just like, how's this going? And this was a while ago. How's this going? I'm like, it's this or it's that, da, da, da. And then they just kept asking me, and then it got to a point where I was like, it's good. And hey, it is good. So then recently when I saw them, it was the same question, and I was just like, yeah, and so I had recently got some good news about what was said, and or what was asked. So I was like, let me call them. And so I called them like, hey, this happened, and they were excited. And then they started telling me about laws from 1920, and I was like, it just blew my mind. And even like when they share things from their past, it's like, wow, just there's so much knowledge there. So I was really thinking about just how powerful the brain is, despite having I should probably not fuck with them, because sometimes I leave my door open. Like, I'd be scared to leave my... Oh, he said, bitch, what you doing? It's Attack of the Squirrels, y'all. What the fuck? So, yeah, and I know somebody who had a traumatic brain injury, and just having to like reprogram and thinking about like the pain and suffering that the brain like can be subjected to, but also just how powerful the mind is. And so then when I moved to neurodevelopment, I wanted to include like this autism symbol with the red circle and the infinity sign in it. And I was also just thinking about how, like, especially with people who have intellectual disabilities, we often put them in this box. So like the perimeter of the card is I did a dashed line of like setting up this box and not really giving them much room to get out of that box. We just we label people. Even I think this speaks to all of these diagnoses. We give people, and taking things out of diagnoses, we label people all the time, and just like, we don't allow them much room to get out of what we conceive them possible of, because it's all projection. It's all projection. So anywho, so I was just thinking about all the different things that could be considered an intellectual disability, how that shows up, and even thinking about all the people that I know with autism. It's just like, it presents itself in so many fascinating ways. And then I had already started like the ripping process, and there was a specific reason that I did it that way. And why did I close that out? I want to because I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was to help me remember I should probably write it on the back, but one step at a time, okay? At least I fucking did it. Did I finish the paper? Paper, where art thou? Where art thou, paper? Paper, paper, paper. Paper, 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 paper. ¿Dónde está mi papel? Wow, I really don't know where this paper went. That's crazy. Is it in my notes? It's so funny because I set this iPad up because I was really excited to show y'all, and I have not touched it yet. That's actually insane. But I probably should just shift this over there so I can actually use that. I have notes everywhere all the time. Y'all, I'm almost done. I'm almost done with school. You know what? I think I erased them because I was done. But it was essentially like the different categories that oh wait, no. Is it under here? Reflection, yes. Whatever happened to my reflection card series 3? I don't know. I need to find that. Let me go down here. Y'all be writing. So the 4 were to help me so it represented a specific thing. So there was like or a category, so specific limitations in learning, something. So it was basically like what categorizes it as a neurodevelopment disorder. So sometimes they'll have specific limitations in learning, or executive function control, or they'll have social skill impairment or intellect and intelligence impairment. And so it could be like a combination of those, or that's kind of like where neurodevelopmentally, I'm pretty sure I just made that word up. New word of the day. What was I talking about? Yeah, it helped me remember that shit. Okay, so then finally we got to personality clusters and or personality disorders, and so you have cluster A, B, and C, and we were told to pick like one cluster to represent. And I actually had this card. I had originally made this card as my substance abuse disorder card, and I moved it from the blue to the purple. I had the blue and the orange. That's what I was trying to say. And it was like a silver line where this gold line is. Well, I can just put a picture. I don't know why I always do that. And it was supposed to be substance abuse, but it was that I had asked somebody like, oh, is this giving substance abuse? And she was like, no, it looks more like bipolar. But I had already done bipolar. So I was like, okay, I'll put it aside. And then I never came back to it until now. So then when I was thinking of what cluster I wanted to do, so you have 3. You have cluster A, which is considered to be where is it? You have cluster A, where is it? Which is described as odd and eccentric types, and that is paranoid disorder, schizotypal, and schizoid disorder. And then you have cluster B, which is described as your dramatic and emotional type. So this is like narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, and then I think there's one more that falls under that, and I don't have the presentation, but borderline, did I say that? Borderline, narcissistic, histrionic, and no, I'm still missing one. I can't remember what that one is. And then you have C, which is your, they're known as, where did I put it? What is this? I'm trying to read it so I could tell y'all what I did, because it's been a minute. And cluster C is considered withdrawn and fearful. So I felt like cluster A, odd and eccentric, and cluster C, withdrawn and fearful, they were very similar in that like they have this like paranoia, or just like disdain for being around people. There's like still that kind of same, but the influence behind that is different. Whereas like your cluster A, it's more of just sometimes like they're withdrawn within their cells. They have like both clusters exhibit paranoid and avoidant behaviors, but cluster C seems to be more anxiety driven, whereas cluster A isn't as anxiety driven. It's more of like a, I just don't want to be, oh, I think antisocial. Antisocial, that's the other one that falls under cluster B. Anyway, so I chose to represent the difference between cluster A and C. Like I thought eyes for paranoia, but like in the top one, I did different color eyes to kind of highlight that eccentricness, and not the same amount of eyes. Whereas down in C, I put a whole bunch of eyes because it's like more of this anxiety driven space. And then the B line, I had like thinking of that dramatic and like some of that just like highs and lows energy. I did the line in gold leaf. So those are my cards. That was one thing I wanted to talk about. And so then that was one of our final projects. I still have to do a presentation, a final presentation, and then the final. And then in my process class, we're finishing up that. I just had my we had to do a project where we had to record a session and basically kind of just like think about our theoretical approach. How do we lead a session? What is our philosophy? And this is something like you want to start thinking about now. And even if you go ask your therapist, they might know, because everybody tells us this is a question that's going to be asked. But honestly, it low-key kind of feels like it's like how they told us we needed to be able to write cursive. But in high school, when we had the SAT and we had to sign our names, I remember my whole class just busted out in like agony. What do you mean I have to sign my name? I wrote that thing so fast. I've been doing this in second grade, okay? They really had us scared, thinking that we weren't going to be able to make it in life without writing in cursive. And now, motherfuckers, I had teachers in high school who didn't know how to write cursive. What the fuck? I was pissed. So anyway, I brought that. That's where I was going. I feel like it's one of those things where they're like, oh, what's your theoretical approach? And then they make it seem like that's going to be the first interview question, and then nobody asks. Because when you be asking therapists, a lot of them be like, oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that since school. So, but it is important to kind of think and keep in mind as you continue, because like really what drives you? Excuse me. So there was like part of what we had to do is just kind of like go over our session. Go over our session, and analyze, reflect on how that went, what we would change moving forward, and like what really drives us. So, I was able to do a mock session with someone who wasn't a client, and it was just a really good experience. I'm not going to talk, but it was like interesting in setting up for all of this. Because I knew it was trying to get this set up was so hard. Because I just had so many hurdles in the semester. Because I was unable to use an individual client, I had to like do a mock one. And it's just interesting how it all aligns. Naturally, that person had a lot of the same ideology and like practices in place that I do. So her being aligned with my theoretical approaches, and that's like something, a therapeutic relationship. It's like a job interview. Like you have to be able to trust your therapist. And the therapist has to also like, we can't discriminate, but it's also like for people who are therapists, you know, how can you really help somebody if you can't move past your biases? And so that's one thing that like you might be more detrimental to whoever you're serving. And so that's one thing that we really talk about in like our supervision, is that like if you are hit with a moment of bias with a client, bring it to the artwork. Do the art. Everything goes back to the art. But it's interesting because you can see things in the art that, you know, now maybe you have more knowledge or you're removed, and it's like, oh wow, that's might have been what I've been thinking, or, you know. So make some art today, y'all, and you do not have to be an artist. I think everybody's an artist, okay? All you have to do is have some type of mind and maybe pick up a pencil or something else. But, you know, if there wasn't for an artist, you wouldn't be having on a shirt. Whatever shirt you have on right now, an artist made that. Whatever chair you're sitting on right now, or whatever car, you know, and you want to call them engineers, but it took a creative mind, okay? An artist is somebody who creates, and we all create. So we're all motherfucking artists. Okay, I'm done with my art teacher rant. So even if it's just picking up a paintbrush and painting, maybe there's something you need to release energy, and so you're just slapping paint on a canvas. It don't gotta look like shit. You made it, so it's art, okay? Anyway, go get y'all art therapist. Not me though, because that would be a conflict of interest, and I'm not a therapist yet. But when I am a therapist, don't be coming over here, because yeah. Anyway, theoretical approaches. So this person processes and practices that they already had, that they ended up sharing with me throughout the process of our session. It was just like, oh wow, we connect here, we connect there. So I would say that for my theoretical approaches, I think of 4 different things that I really keep close to me. And so I'll just kind of read what I wrote in the presentation and maybe elaborate a little bit more. So the first one, I definitely am an existentialist all the way. Existential theory. So this focuses on exploring the existential dimensions of human existence, such as freedom, responsibility, meaning, and death. The goal is to help clients explore existential concerns through open dialogue, reflection, and exploration of personal values and beliefs. This prioritizes an authentic therapeutic relationship. Feminist therapy. Therapists strive to create a supportive and empowering therapeutic relationship that validates clients' experiences and perspectives. They may explore how societal expectations, gender roles, and cultural norms influence clients' sense of self, relationships, and life choices. And then cognitive behavioral therapy focuses on how a person's thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes influence their feelings and behaviors. It aims to help individuals identify and change negative patterns of thinking and behavior that contribute to their difficulties. And then finally, person-centered therapy. The therapist establishes a nurturing and empathetic atmosphere in which clients feel embraced, comprehended, and esteemed without criticism or analysis, demonstrating an attitude of genuine care, authenticity, and empathy. The therapist enables clients to openly delve into their emotions, thoughts, and experiences, empowering them to seek their own resolutions and personal development. Rather than offering guidance or explanations, the therapist supports the client's journeys of self-exploration and self-realization. And so, yeah, I feel like, you know, therapy has to be person-centered because I'm dealing with the person. And, you know, sometimes these will change. Maybe if I'm in a group setting, we're not talking about a specific person, or I'm not focusing on a specific person. But as I'm thinking about like maybe some techniques that like I would use a person-centered technique, or trying to figure out like what does this person need versus this person. So you're really giving, like, you're holding the space that that person needs. You're not just holding a space. You're holding a space for that person in the way that they need to help them like reach their higher self, reach their best potential. Cognitive behavioral therapy. So that's that stuff like doing the journaling and trying to get, so right now, one thing that I am working on is, what's the word again? Successive approximation. So what is one little thing that I can do that will help me with the greater good? So just like the bits and pieces. I can post a video. Maybe I'm not at the point where I can mass edit and schedule, I hoard content because that's what's easiest for me to do. So, you know, I can, that's at least, if I can't edit it right now, at least I can get the footage and then come back to it when I can. So that's also part of the reason why I decided to move to that videos on Saturday, because it's easy as hell for me to come down here and like record, and I can, because I'm very particular, I haven't gotten my mic yet. I do a little bit extra editing than is really necessary, but that brings me comfort with what I'm putting out into the universe. So I'm like, all right, it's easier to just listen to this audio real quick while I'm doing whatever. I can make a note to cut it this time and then move from there. But I don't have the time to edit the video, so if I can space that out, great. Or just like, okay, one thing that I did in this transition of moving my Instagram, like transitioning my Instagram while I'm waiting for this new, I had to get it. I don't think I finished that. The puke story, I found a phone. I found my old phone. So I was like, I don't need to buy a whole new phone. I can just, I did say that already. So I'm waiting on a SIM card. I fucking hate FedEx, bro. That shit was supposed to come yesterday. And then they was like, nah, it's not coming. And they tried to make it seem like it was delayed for whatever reason, but they actually came because it was like they needed an indirect signature, but they wouldn't let me sign online. And they don't got no phone number to call, so I could verbally say like, yo, I got class, but can you like just, you know, just, this is me saying, yes, it's okay to leave it. And they probably wouldn't have done it, but it was like, at least you could make like a, I don't know. If you're not gonna let me do that, just hold it and I'll come get it. But I get pissed off, and I think I talked about this a little bit in the episode Nigga I Do Fart Glitter with Madam Glitterpuss. But it's like what was I talking about? Yeah, I just fucking hate FedEx. It's always something. Even I didn't pay for express shipping this time because honestly, when I ordered, like when I set it up and it said the SIM card was coming, it didn't register in my head that they were shipping it to me. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought I was going to go to the store and pick it up, but it never asked me about a store, and that also kind of doesn't really make sense. But anyway, that's really neither here nor there. The whole point is like, what is a little thing that you can do? So I started, even though I don't have my phone and I would like to separate, when I do remember, when I have the chance, I start airdropping like pictures or videos that I have in my main phone to move that over so I can separate that. I can, one, get more space because y'all know I'm always struggling with space, and two, it makes it like just easier. Like, okay, these are the types of photos that I'm gonna use for this, or make it easier to organize. And organizing my apps, like I'm getting it the motherfucking together. So I'm not where I wanna be yet, but I just took a motherfucking step, okay? And we're celebrating wins. Journaling, breathing techniques, guided meditation. So these are things that I'm like already doing. And cognitive restructuring. Do you know how powerful, like, how just fucking ridiculous it is that I had to fucking cognitively restructure chicken chunks on my table to be such a good thing, you know? Like, but it's okay to acknowledge in the moment I was pissed. But now we've moved on. We're better. We've grown from that. Okay. So yeah. And then I'm always talking about what is the purpose, or just like I talk about masculinity versus femininity and all that, all that stuff. So this is just stuff that I naturally talk about and what makes sense for me. And this isn't like me pushing this on to people, but it's just like, that's just kind of where my head is at. And so I'm open to, I'm just holding space, baby. I'm just holding space. I will not hug you. I don't know why I'm roboting. And I said I will not hug you because I was like holding, to those of you listening, I was like holding the space, and to me it looks like a hug, like I'm giving you a hug, I'm holding space for you, but like I'm not actually gonna hug you anyway. And yeah, I've just been really grounded and secure in like that, and connections with spirituality as always. And it was interesting. I had been doing some journaling and reflecting. Y'all, so far I have journaled every day in April, and I'm very proud of myself. But I think like one of my affirmations was, one of my affirmations had talked about, had talked about, well, letting go. And I started thinking about, I think I was just having like a kind of brain dump moment, and I was reflecting on just like that I was feeling blocked, and that I had like some discomfort, and uncertainty, and it was like I was feeling fearful, and thinking about like some things being uncertain, and those are the really scary things, and how I'm in a, even though I'm upset with how some things are going, I am comfortable. And I'm not ready to take another leap of faith like I did when I quit teaching. Because when I quit teaching, I was just like, yeah, at the time I had systems in place that I thought were going to be my supports, and they quickly crumbled. And then I got into this place where I was down bad, and I really had to build myself back up again. And for me, and I've talked about this a little bit before, like for me, I was in such a dark space that it was like, I would have never been here had I just listened to myself. But I sat here and I let other people's fears for me influence me in how I moved. And it's like, okay, I quit my job. I said I was going to do this, this, and this. And I was comfortable with doing that because I've been working since I was 15. Like, I have this grinding spirit, and I want to stop having to grind. But like, it's not like I can't do it because I've done it. And I have faith in myself. But then I had other people like, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. Let me support you. Let me support you. And then when they did, it didn't like, or when they realized that they couldn't really help me in a way. And it was like, I tried my best to say like, this is what I need. And it's like, yeah, I got you. But when it came time, and it's like, y'all aren't doing what y'all supposed to do, I'm here just like, then it's like, oh, well, you should have done a better job of this, or you said you was going to do that, so you need to take care of that. And I'm like, what happened to the support? So then having to rebuild myself out, it would help along the way, but pulling myself back out in the grand scheme of things, I'm in that place where I said like, I'm going to quit. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And it's not panning out how I thought or as quick as I thought it was, but it is, because I was able to do that. But I'm kind of in a place like that again of like, how far of a leap do I take? And it's a scary leap. And I know, like, I already see it, but I'm not comfortable to do that right now. And so that's what's holding me back. I have to let go of that fear. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it slowly, successive approximation. What am I comfortable with letting go in order to get to the other goal? So really having to sit with myself. But it's been hard to sit with myself because I got school and I got this and I got that. And now school, we got a couple more weeks left. I got like one more presentation that I got to do. And then there's like finals, but I just show up to class and hope for the best. The other stuff is like preliminary work. So I had been doing that reflection, and I brought that all up because did it. And then a couple of days later, I had participated in this like ritual practice, and the reflection from that was saying that you have to surrender fear. And I was like, okay, spirit, I fucking hear you. I'm working on it, bitch. So yeah. And then I had a moment. So I'm rapping, and I'll end with this. I touched all my rides. So I went to Mistress Marley and Goddess Rue just reopened up Whip's Dungeon in New York City. And so they were doing like a relaunch party, a Femdom party, and it was really cool to go. Like, I met some of the people that I have been in courses with. Shout out Lady Jade, shout out Peck Diablo. Like, it was a great time to actually be able to be like, oh, we're not like internet friends. And I was a little bit socially awkward, so like, if any of you come across this and you're like, that girl was weird, it was so much going on that day, and I was so flustered. And like, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect, because most of my, well, all really of my experience within this community is like going to classes, and the classes are held at dungeons, but they're not like this was my first out of state event too. So they've been either rented spaces or they've been like the Crucible Dungeon. So I didn't really know what to expect, and in my head, that's all I really knew. So I should have done a little bit more research on that. But you know, the best research is experience. So what works, what doesn't work. Because you can look up stuff as much as you want to, but in this instance, like, well, I didn't know what to expect. I had never been out of state. So in my head, right, I had this whole plan of like, oh, I'm gonna do this scene, da-da-da-da. So I had been like kind of ruminating and like prepping myself up for that, right? My outfit was cute. I looked good. I was ready. And then I was like, beforehand, so I left. It was a quick trip. I was like, I'm going. I want this experience. I want to see what it's like. So I was able to do like a bus there and a bus back and like actually get the ticket there. So that particular day, I had like my internship. I left my internship to go to the train station, to get on the bus, to go to New York, to get right back on the bus, to then come back home, to take a nap, to go back to my internship, because all this shit with my car, I've been falling behind on hours. So it was just like a quick trip in New York. And I love that it's so close that I can do that. And it's like, I'm starting, when I was younger, I've only been to New York 4 times, and I'm like, it's close enough to do that. And other people are like, you're crazy, but I wanted the experience. So I saw opportunity, I jumped on it, and I'm grateful for that, because now I know moving forward, a little bit more what to expect. Cause that was my first like femdom specific party. So it's like female domination led, and, my ear was just itching like shit. Female domination. And there's like different play and stuff going on. There's like play, there's networking, yeah. So anywho, so I left my internship. The bus came. I took Megabus. I'm never taking fucking Megabus again. Okay, this is an anti-Megabus podcast. But the bus, I don't know what happened, y'all. So we left from Union Station, and I didn't know. They didn't advertise that there were going to be any stops. It made it seem like it was from DC straight to New York. So they're talking about, oh yeah, it's going to be a stop in White Marsh. Okay, cool, whatever. I'm on the bus now. I'm already headed. I don't actually know what time we left, but I know the last time I remember seeing on the clock was 4:30. I was knocked out. I didn't mean to fall asleep, but I was knocked the fuck out. And then when I wake up, it's 6. And we're still in Maryland. Like, we haven't even touched Baltimore yet. I'm like, whoa, like, what is happening? It was like far into 6, going on 7 too. So then we finally get, which I guess, all right, that is rush hour now that I think about it. But I was like, this is insane. Because they were talking about we were going to get to New York at 8:55. Mind you, I was playing because the event started at 9. But I wanted to go, and I went, and I'm glad I went. So the bus was supposed to leave at 4:20, get there at 8:55. They didn't say anything about having to stop in Baltimore until we got on a bus. So I wake up, it's 6 going on 7. We still haven't even gotten to White Marsh yet. We finally get to White Marsh. Y'all, we didn't fucking get to New York till 10. So now I'm like stressing out. I had to get an Uber because I'm like, what's the quickest way? Because it was it dropped us off in Manhattan, but it was in Brooklyn. So I'm like, I gotta get to Brooklyn because the doors close at 11. So I'm over here stressing the fuck out. I'm like messaging, shout out Maya Luna. I'm like, yo girl, like, can you, what's the fastest way to get there? She's like, okay. She sent me the the train. She was like, you could take this train and go to here and and it's gonna drop you right off there. But Ubers in the city are gonna be really expensive and they're gonna take too long. And I was like, all right. But then time was pushing, and it was talking about something. We wasn't even going to get there till like 10:20, and it was going to take at least 30 minutes to get out to Brooklyn. I was like, oh my God, I can't. So then I pre-called a Lyft, and I told them I signed up for the free trial priority. Pick me up right now, okay? Not yesterday, right fucking now. So signed up, got in the Uber, and I was texting him, I was like, I'm around the corner, please don't leave me. He's like, okay. So I got out, got in the car. He dropped me off at 10:57. I was like, you a real one. And then went in, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more. Well, yeah, I'll talk about that. So then it was a little bit of a shock because going to the masculine feminine, I'm confident within myself across the board. But I was panicking. I was in a state of panic because I had already been late, and y'all know how I feel about being late. And because my bus was supposed to leave New York at 2 to get back to DC at 6:45. And I'm like, so I just got here at 11 and I have to leave out around 1, really at the latest, like somewhere between 1:15, or start checking in at 1 to be there at 1:15, to leave by at least 1:15 to get back by 2. So I'm in this state of panic because I'm late. I'm like, it's not as big as I was expecting in my head, and it doesn't look anything. It doesn't look anything like what I thought it was gonna be. It's a beautiful setup, but I'm just like, yo, like, so I'm disoriented now. I don't know what's going on, and it's like, it was hard for me to adjust because I was already flustered, and I'm sitting here like, okay, I cannot get too immersed because I can't be stuck in New York. I just can't. So it was like moments where I kind of felt, and so this is, I might have talked about this, that cognitive restructuring and breathing, some of those techniques, and like, I feel like I talked about this in an episode because I definitely heard myself say it, but being as present in the moment as I can be. So I was sitting here and assessing like, okay, I'm experiencing discomfort. Why am I experiencing discomfort? Looking around the room, and like, it was funny. I met this one woman, hilarious. Like, she was walking a motherfucker around on a motherfucking at least she was doing pet play. He was being a dog, and she sat down next to me, and instantly, like, her energy, we were giggling, and she was asking me how long I've been doing it. I've been asking her how long she was doing it, and she was like, girl, that's my first day outside. And then she had said something about no, she said she was new, and then I had asked her what her Twitter was so we could connect, and she was like, oh, people keep telling me I need to make that. And I was like, you don't have a Twitter? And so then I was like, all right, let's be friends on Discord. And she was like, I didn't even know you could have friends on Discord. And I was like, wait, how new are you? She's like, this is my first day outside. Like, I thought it was gonna be fun, so I came. And I was like, I never would have guessed you're a natural. So that was really nice to get that experience. But yeah, so then there was like moments. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. I'll probably talk more about it on Tales of a Sensual Femdom, because I got a lot of spicy conversations to share this month. And yeah, so it was like, I was able to appreciate these moments and connect, get like, introduce myself to other doms, and just kind of talk about how long we've been doing this, what are you interested in, where are you located, and just seeing all these different powerful people in this room and seeing like just the interactions. It was a beautiful experience. And so in my head, I was so programmed to think that I needed to perform. And I felt like I was more in my masculine self than to just sit back and absorb. And it's like, I'm still exerting my dominance. Like, I don't have to engage in a whole scene and do this, that, and a third with you. Come over here and be my fucking footstool, and I'm dominant in that, and I can like get more comfortable, because it also, like, there were beds that were low to the floor, and I wore my fire heels, my 8 inches, so it was like I couldn't really get comfortable. Like, I didn't want to lay back because then I'm just like disengaged and looking crazy, and I feel like I'm already socially awkward with people, because all of this is going through my head. And I didn't really want to I think I said to like one person, like, yeah, I'm just a little awkward right now, sorry. But so it was like, I had this really awkward scene with this dude. I'll tell y'all. It was really awkward. So I was like dealing with the anxiety, had this one thing in my head, and it was really hard for me to pivot because I'm also stressed out about, like, I don't want to get too immersed because I can't stay the whole time. I can't miss this bus. So then I ended up kind of rushing out. and I'm terrified. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling the Uber. My Uber, I got a notification that he was hard of hearing or deaf, and that like only to text him. So I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sitting out there. It's niggas walking everywhere. I got like a big ass bag with me. I just came out of this suspicious like looking building. It was a lot. Okay. So I'm sitting here trying to like look tough. Like, yeah, I'm real New York. But really, I'm just like a little Maryland girl. Okay. Like, I was petrified. And I'm sitting here and the other thing, I could stand there, but I'm also focused on trying to find this Uber. So it's clear that I'm basically like a damsel in distress, and I'm more vulnerable. And I'm like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. So I was like struggling with that. He finally found me, thank God. And I'm stressing because it's like we not gonna get there till 1:57. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm in the back, just really just like, please. And luckily, my friend was up, and so we were able to have a conversation and at least get on the bus. And then I honestly, be safe, make good choices. Y'all so this podcast is for holding myself accountable, and this is a cautionary tale for y'all to be careful when y'all do, if y'all do. When, because we all do like some really crazy or sometimes stupid shit. So when you do stuff, like really don't be me, okay? So it was like I was so focused on like I'm going home. They didn't check my bus pass. I didn't even check if that was my bus. I was just like, it's a bus at 2:00 in the morning. It's and not thinking it's New York, like it could be any bus. Nope. I was like, this is my bus. And honestly, I was feeling such a way that I was like, y'all motherfuckers gonna stop in New York. I mean, not New York. Y'all are gonna stop in DC, whether you like it or not. That's how I was feeling. So I got on that bus. And then I ended up eventually falling asleep. And then I woke up and we were in Philly. I'm like, here y'all go again. Not telling motherfuckers that it was a stop. But I didn't like it because both times I sat on like the top of the bus. And that was my mistake there. But it was terrifying. Like that bus driver was driving the bus like it was a Honda Civic. He was hitting all types of turns in that bus. Like, I hadn't realized that I fell asleep because I woke up because the bus was fucking shaking. I'm like, I kept having to like brace myself, and I was praying to the Lord above. I was like, oh no, please let everybody on this bus get off this fucking bus. I was petrified. It was really hard for me to go back to sleep, but I eventually did. So yeah, that's all I got this week. Mango's message. I said a lot. I said a lot. Mango's message. Practice what you preach, for sure. Don't beat yourself up when you don't. The word is right there. Don't beat yourself up when you don't do the thing you said you would do. Do reflections, journal. Consider if you're a therapist, what's your therapeutic approach? Like, how are you showing up for your clients? How are you showing up for yourself too? Everybody, how are you showing up for yourself? And how are you holding yourself accountable for showing up for yourself? I'm not gonna talk all about the session, but that was like something that came up, that it's like, we beat ourselves up when we don't do certain things. And it's like, well, what can you do? We are not machines. There's a greater focus on productivity and how can you contribute to what other people are doing, or this company, whatever. But we forget that we are not machines. We are human beings that need rest, we have needs that need to be met, and we cannot be our best selves. We cannot be our most productive selves if we are not pouring into ourselves first and re-energizing ourselves. And life is hard. There's always things going on. And it's not always good things. Sometimes it's really rough, detrimental, tough things. And, how can we restructure? I think I like restructure better than reframe, because, and this is me kind of going off the dome, and this may or may not make sense, but in my head, like when I think of a frame, I think of something that is like a little bit more sturdy, and it's like you're putting yourself into this box. Whereas I feel restructure is like building, and it takes time, like a structure, a structure. So yeah. how can we restructure? Words are important. In this word, maybe reframe works for somebody else, but I feel like restructure works. Cognitive restructuring. So that's something else that I said that I used within, like one of the things we had to do was like what techniques were employed working in that session. And so I said art making, because we were making art. Role reversal. There was a part where we were talking about, they had just naturally brought up Reiki, and I was like, oh my God. I've mentioned it that my manifestation series was done with Reiki candles, which if you know anything about candle work, send me some resources. Please, twoscrippers1po@gmail.com. So we were able to like start talking about that, and then in that instance it was role reversal, because even though like we give our therapists this like hierarchy, we usually give them this hierarchy, like they're the all-knowing one, they're supposed to help me, and it's really not, like that's not really therapy. We're not supposed to tell you what to do. We can give you techniques and suggestions, but we're not living your life for you. You still have autonomy, and the part of that is like we're trying to help you realize that autonomy. But we also go through our own things too. So disclosure and whatever. But role reversal, she was able to teach me a lot about Reiki that I had no idea about, and then sharing. Kind of remember, I think I mentioned this in Experience the Nut, or some other episode like back from then, which first season episodes, they are on Patreon. So come on over to Patreon. You got first season original episodes, like the raw, uncut. Well, some of them are cut because I was really saying or doing crazy things. But you have the raw episodes, and then you have behind the scenes pole play, toy talk, and Tales of Essential Femdom, and bonus audio as well. So join us over there. And then once I really start building up the following and we be doing votes, y'all get first vote on things. So like, come on. And I got some ideas that I want to share with y'all and make sure that they not too crazy. So I was talking about cognitive restructuring, I think. Yes. So what ended up happening is like, when I first started this, we were talking about disclosure, and it's like, how much do you share? You really shouldn't, as a therapist, you shouldn't be telling all your business, because it's not about you. It's about them. You're holding space for someone else. But, when is it, I had to learn, like, and this was really in practice, I have to practice more discernment of like, when I'm saying something, what does that add? So sometimes if you're talking and your therapist doesn't say anything, it's just, I'm really just trying to hear you out and like try to process what you're saying to me. Like maybe I'm trying to feel like, okay, I hear what you're saying, like, and maybe I'm trying to imagine your feelings or digest your feelings about something, and it's rephrasing maybe to help me understand. It's whatever. But the whole reason why I brought that up is like, a big thing one of my professors told me is about, you need to work on disclosure. And when I first started, one of the art therapists were saying like, it's cool to, you brought something up, but at a certain point it's like, how is this productive to the conversation? Because I think we were talking about like favorite foods or something, and then it did just kind of, me and the other interns started riffing off of each other, and we were talking about different foods as a collective, yes, but it was like, this really doesn't have anything to do with anything, and there's no reason why we spent like 15-20 minutes talking about this. So I bring that up to say, it was like, one of the things this person told me, I had mentioned the whole puke thing, but of course I didn't say, oh, this whole puke, da da da. No, I was like, I had some property damage, and in the moment I was pissed. But taking a step back, I was like, all right, as crazy and as disruptive as these squirrels are back, as crazy and as disruptive as that was, I was able to clear the space in my apartment, and I was able to find my old laptop. I was able to find my own phone. I was able to find all these things and get rid of all these things. So, yeah. Cognitively restructure yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Get you some techniques. And make some art. That's it. That's all. Be safe, y'all.